All right, what's up, everybody? This is the last Friday Mastermind of 2023, and I'm pumped. I mean, I had an awesome year, not without struggles, not without challenges, but nevertheless, as I get to this last week of the year, which is always my favorite week. It's just a week where it's a little less scheduled. Sometimes I take it off, but most times I just don't completely take it off and just use it as a week to kind of a workation, but with a lot of planning, vision casting, a lot of gratitude. And so today, myself, Todd, and Deborah, we thought like, hey, let's not have a special guest. Let's, the three of us, reflect on, what are some of the most notable highlights of the year. And we're going to talk about that for the first 20-ish minutes. And then we're gonna roll into what's ahead in 2024 and try to do that in a way that's useful for all mortgage professionals and realtors. Like, hopefully this will have value to you as a mortgage originator and as you can share it with your realtors, or you can get some ideas from this that you can bring to your agents. Mr. Booksman and Deborah, what's up, guys? I'm pumped to have you both here.
It
Morning.
is awesome to be here. I cannot believe that another year of the three of us hanging out on Fridays has flown by. And, I feel like there's lots to celebrate in 2023. So I'm glad that we'll spend a few minutes reflecting on that. And then I think there's a lot to look forward to in 2024. So it's always fun to be here because as I looked at my memories of the year and some of the highlights, you guys are both part of it. So excited to have the conversation with you guys. Right, Deborah?
Yes, I'm gonna admit I'm ready for 2023 to be over. Those of you who follow me on social have probably seen some of the journey of behind the scenes. So it was a tough year more on the personal side. But it was also a life-changing year, and I'll go into that a little bit in more detail. And that was thanks to you guys, both Todd and Dave. I put myself in different situations than I was maybe comfortable in putting myself in, and attended new webinars and met new people that have now become a part of our family. And I'm excited to unpack that with you guys. So happy last Friday Mastermind of 2023, guys. And go
All
Tom
right,
Brady.
so
Y'all didn't even notice my Brady sweatshirt.
I did not
I
notice
noticed it. I
that.
just didn't say anything. Sorry.
Yeah, and
You're still bitter about those Eagles.
For those that just click those reactions, we love that. Keep doing it. If throughout the course of this conversation you get value, whatever social media platform you're watching, give it a like. If you think that this is something that you'd like to share with others, please share it. And then this is going to be on YouTube. We'll probably have our bigger audience there, so give us feedback there. We are going to do a Tuesday call next week. Sean Herrero and I had a walk. He was in town, and we went for a sunrise walk and he was just telling me, what he's going to do next week. And he's like, I love that Jeremy separation season, and next week's going to be separation week for me. And I'm just like, bro, I was going to take the day off on Tuesday, but I would love to unpack separation week from Sean Herrero. But I think our whole community would love to hear that. Like, what are you gonna do the week between Christmas and New Year's? And so don't miss next Tuesday. You can sign up for that at SavageInsights.com. And let's go ahead and get after it. And ladies first, Deborah, why don't you share a highlight from last year that you think you want to share?
Well, so it starts with the Be Wealthy event. Todd, I don't know if you knew that that's what I was going to say, but I think that was February that we went to Be Wealthy. And I remember you texted Denise and I, and you were like kind of nervous to text us and invite us to it, thinking, if I recall correctly, so you correct me if I'm wrong, but you're like, I didn't want it to seem like I was selling you on something. But going to Be Wealthy and reading The Dream Manager. So if you guys haven't read that book, Dream Manager, that's the correct title, right, Todd?
Yes.
Okay. It was a phenomenal book. I had my kids do the whole your top 100 dreams. It's a great thing to do with your teams to help them catch their dreams. But then I also met Kyle Fuller and some people with Factum Financial, and just really change the trajectory of some of the things that we were doing financially that I didn't know we were doing incorrectly. But that room was like a room full of giants, and it wasn't my typical type of mastermind that I would ever, attend, but I'm so grateful I did. And I'm happy to say we accomplished a lot of those dreams this year. So 4 family
Dang.
vacations, which I don't think we had even taken 1 family vacation prior to this year, guys, with the kids, and we did 4. So super proud about that. So thank you.
Yeah. So first of all, that was a great way to kick it off. And Todd, you had some, I mean, I know that was a passion of yours, a lot of intention you put in coming into the year around just how you were going to grow as an investor and the community that you wanted to create. I know Shayla Gifford was part of that. Who are some of the other well-known mortgage coaches and folks that joined you on this Be Wealthy journey?
You know, the armful of folks, I would call it, that that were there at the subsequent meetings after that. That first one was just Deborah and I, and then the next one we had Denise, we had Keith Collins, we had Shayla Gifford, Josh Metal, who am I forgetting?
Justin Harris,
Deborah, Justin
the
Harris,
giant. Yeah.
the giant, yeah, BFG as my kids call him. But it's just it's an amazing room full of people, right? So my goal was to hand curate some loan officers that I know are really interested in the whole wealth building piece. And you sit in a room with 150 realtors who are either investors, wholesalers, flippers, run super large teams. I mean, truly, some of the people we've had on stage at Modern Real Estate Summit, really the best of the best in a room. I'm talking about things transparently that are really big about, really what you need to do with your wealth, from, not just where to invest. I mean, that would be kind of, selling it short. It's really more how to protect what you're building as well. Just everything from, infinite banking to how to, to trust, like really high level trust, to financial advisors, and just people with different strategies getting up on stage, and some well-known folks, that from other industries getting in as well. So that'll be fun. We'll be adding some loan officers to that group. I created the group in the group called Be Wealthy LO. So you can just ping me. I've actually got a link off of my link tree. If you go to toddbookspan.me, there's a link on there that has a quick video on it. So if you're really interested in wealth building at a high level, then go there, watch the video. And if you're interested, then just ping me to be happy to talk to you about it. But that's awesome, Deborah. I didn't know that was going to be the big impactful thing. I thought you were going to say, because you got to meet my wife and hang out there and with us in
that
Tennessee.
was awesome. That was awesome too. But I mean, I have to admit, when I first sat down at that mastermind, like roundtable, the way that the people were talking, I was like, I think I'm the dumbest person in this room. They were using acronyms, and I was like, okay, Todd, I'm going to be texting you. What does this mean? But also, fun fact, our first family vacation was Newport Beach, Dave. And so I was super grateful that you gave me all your little tips of places to walk and seeing the dolphins at, I think it was Dana Point Center, or, wherever it was. But then we did a whale watching trip. And I mean, we saw the Lakers. It was an epic trip to Newport Beach, and beautiful. So thank you both on that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And remember, folks, play along with us. If you're on Zoom or you're watching this, what was something that you thought was important? It was a highlight. That whole wealth, Be Wealthy movement aligns so well with Todd. One of my things was FirstHomeIQ. I mean, this was the year that
Absolutely.
FirstHomeIQ launched, and profits and purpose. I think Be Wealthy is, how to optimize profits and build wealth in a number of different ways. Just people in mortgage and real estate coming together and talking about how they're making money, and how they're keeping that money, and they're amplifying that money with strategy. So I love that. Todd, anything you want to add to what she just shared, or what's your big takeaway, kind of big thing you want to share for the year?
I absolutely had FirstHomeIQ on my list, and I knew one of us was going to beat the other one of us to it, just because I feel like that's something that's so easy for you all to get involved in, and for you to have conversations with realtors about to differentiate yourself, with your clients about to differentiate yourself. So I think there's lots to consider there as you look at it, whether it's just being on our mailing list so that you're supporting us that way, or jumping in on the ambassador program. There's just so many things that you can do to support the cause. So grateful for that. You know what I would say, I would throw on there, because it's where we announced it, was that we actually took the Modern Mortgage Summit live this year. You know, after doing it 2020 through 2022, the first 3 years, we did 5 different events where we did them. We were live, me and Dave and Renee, and Deborah was at most of those live. And, we had Adam there. We had a lot of fun times in a small group doing that as a virtual event, right? So it was, everyone was pre-recorded but us, and we launched each one live. So we had a good time. We had thousands of you join us there online, but this year to have 60 people in Bradley's studio in Vegas, as well as thousands of you online, was really super special. And then I got to lead a mastermind the next day for the attendees, which was a little intimidating because I had most of the speakers there, and I hadn't led a mastermind in a while like that live, but it was that was certainly a highlight for me this year.
Yeah, I love that. And by the way, guys, we are going to be Todd's going to be, and Win by Noon is going to be doing another Modern Mortgage Summit. And Todd, did we decide is it going to be the last week or the second to the last week in March?
It is going to be the 28th of March. It's a Thursday. It's the Thursday before Easter. So,
yeah, and it will.
Well, stay tuned. We'll get you guys info on that. First couple of weeks of the year.
Yeah, and there will still be a virtual event. So there'll be an in-person opportunity, a virtual event, and I think Todd, you're also committed to doing that Win by Noon Mastermind the day after 29th, because I mean that was incredible.
It was so much fun. And, I just love nothing more than, coaching and teaching. And when you get to have a small group in there and really have impact is a lot of fun. So I can't wait for that. And, hopefully we'll be able to, well, I have no doubt we'll fill the room again with the right people at the event. And, looking forward then for the rest of you who join us online. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, very cool. And Justin Allen, thank you for the note. He just said, it was cool meeting you as well in person. And also first time I interviewed you this year, Justin, it was great to find you as a leader in the industry and connect. And I will be at Housing Wire. Housing Wire killed it last year. Their events were amazing. I will be attending at least one, but I think a couple Housing Wire events next year. So, I'm going to go a little different direction on highlights from 2023 and just call out, what I think is the biggest mortgage story of the year. And it's not the biggest mortgage story of the year. It's the biggest humanity story of the year. And that's AI. I mean, 2023 will go down in history as the year that the general public really saw what the AI is here. Like technologists for years have been using AI, have been playing with AI, but it went mainstream this year. And I started using AI in a lot of different ways. Our company Trust Engine, is using AI to predict who's most likely to buy, sell, refinance a home. We're also working at using AI to create and make a total cost analysis even better. And then I'm using, I just started last week using Fathom to take notes. I've been an Evernote user for countless years, and I made notes for today's conversation, and then I hit like a little AI enhancement, and oh my God, all the spelling errors are gone. And not only are spelling errors gone, but it formatted it more intelligently. And not only did it format it more intelligently, like it made my notes for today's call more actionable. And so I would love to know, anyone listening to this, like how did you start using AI this year? Or if you were like, screw that, like I'm anti-AI, and you want to give us a little rant on that, feel free to do that. But
Dave, can you imagine if we would have had AI as kids? How much
oh my God,
better our life would have been with
well, I would have
school?
had a much better GPA in high school.
I mean, Todd was the brainiac there with his MBA and probably all A's, but for anyone else on the struggle bus, like I love using it too for my spelling errors and grammatical errors and it helping.
Well, if they just would have had
super
spell
thinking
check
buddy.
when I went to school, like
Oh yeah,
computers and spell
I
check.
at least
Like,
had that.
yeah, I did not have that, so I would have done a lot better in
I can't
spelling
imagine
back
what.
then too.
Yeah.
What about
hilarious.
you two? Any ways that either one of you are using AI, and any thoughts you? Well,
Oh,
and by the way, let's bullet point some takeaways from the year, and then let's get ready to get into
okay.
forecasting next year. But any quick AI tips that you
I
guys
do
have done?
want to, yeah, I use it every day, but I like using it more, not just for like task, but also helping me think, like a thinking buddy, kind of like what you would use Robert Stover for, Dave. Like I'm like training it to think like me, sound like me,
Yeah,
brainstorm. So I love using it, for that. I did want to call out Jeremy Baxter. He made a comment in the chat saying he joined Dan Keller's team in March this year. So, congrats, Jeremy
congratulations,
and Dan,
Jeremy.
on that big. Yeah, yeah. So Todd, anything you want to add to that with how you're using AI?
I'm the laggard of the crew. It's actually at the top of my list for 2024 is to determine the best opportunities for me to use it. I feel like I use it. Don't get me wrong. I use Bard and Chat GPT, and I kind of play with both of them. But when it comes to, I think, opportunities to improve, I'm missing out on that. So I will leave that to the two of you to chat about.
Love it.
Well, and I don't think we can not mention another big win for you and I, Todd. I was wondering who was going to say it first, but I drug you to the exactly what to say personal certification, where we went to New York and got to mastermind with, the nerd and some other fabulous people. And then we leveled up and we became guides. So that's been pretty life-changing, just having Phil's mentorship and coaching and that whole community, and stretching myself beyond just the typical marketing aspect. I do feel like marketing is great at creating opportunities, but where I felt that especially younger loan officers, they struggled with how to convert. So I always relate it to marketing may be able to get you all the way to the 1 yard line, but sales still has to convert it to score. And so how are your scriptings and how intentional are you with word choice, and just moving a few words can really make a big difference. And so that was the big why of wanting to go deeper in the work and then share it with the mortgage community. And I'm stoked that you're my sidekick doing it with me. So that was another big
Well,
win of the year.
that goes both ways. Yeah, I absolutely had Phil Jones, and I had exactly what to say, and the certifications that we did on my highlight list. What I found was, right, I had a few trips to New York. So one, selfishly, since my middle daughter is a school teacher there, not only did I get to hang out with you and your sister Phil and the rest of the crew there, getting to see my daughter a few extra times this year was great. But it's a fun community. It's nice to have a community. You also think about who are you masterminding with outside of the mortgage community and outside of the real estate community. The guides group has a large chunk of people, probably a third are in the real estate world, but there's 2/3 outside of the real estate world. And it's a lot of fun to get in a room with other entrepreneurs and, brainstorm things. And as much as we all learned from Phil when we did Scriptapalooza, and he walked us through how to say things more effectively, and I think be more efficient in conversations. What I've learned is as I've gotten to know him better, is he's also just a brilliant business mind. And so I've just taken away a lot of things that, hopefully we'll be implementing into other stuff that we do here in the community in 2024. And, we're going to have a blast, Deborah, bringing another couple dozen people through our certifications next year.
Yeah, make sure you
Yes.
guys are following what Todd and Deborah are doing, and big things coming when it comes to exactly what to say. And I actually had that on my list too, because I'm currently writing, and next Tuesday, right before I interview Sean, I'm going to publish an article, but I'll give you guys early access to these are the top 12 videos of 2023 and exactly what to say. He was on our mastermind. Deborah, thank you for bringing him into the mastermind. It was the most viewed video of last year. He also was on Scriptapalooza. Now, by the way, guys, Scriptapalooza would have been #1 when we originally pushed it live onto YouTube. There was some mistakes in it, and like 3,000 people watched it. It was good. It didn't have everything. It was missing some stuff. And so we pushed a second version up. So the two together would have been #1, but this is how it played out. Couple takeaways. You'll notice that in the top 12 videos. I think 4 or 5 of them had the word realtor in it. You know, number 2, unlocking power of cold calling with realtors. You know, how to set meetings with realtors. Jeremy Forcier's realtor playbook. Brian McCauley, how to get new realtor partners. You know, Todd Duncan, get more realtor meetings. And so, you know, couple takeaways that I want to kind of close out on takeaways and shift to the new year is that, first of all, we brought some new blood in. So super pumped that we found Phil. Thank you to Deborah. And the top 12, the only other 2 more newcomers, Daniel Saw, which, by the way, incredible interview, must watch. And then Jim Deitch. You know, I did this interview for executives, mortgage executives, and it was the 9th most viewed video of the year. And if you didn't watch it, highly recommend you check it out. So guys, anything you want to make sure gets mentioned as highlights, or anything you want to say about all that before we flip the chapter of the book here?
You know, I will say AmpCon this year really surprised me. It was nice. My challenge was to go to new events that I don't typically go to that could benefit mortgage or real estate agents, because I felt like I could then take that information back and spread it. But I loved that AmpCon this year had just different speakers from different industries from all over. They were, you know, very inspiring, and their stories were just, you know, magnetic. So I really liked AmpCon.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was unique, different, and I got tremendous value. And Renee continues to build an incredible community with his Amplify community, and an incredible book. Anybody who hasn't read or listened to the audiobook, which Renee himself reads, make sure you check that out. Todd, anything else you want to say before we flip the chapter here?
Last thing on my list was another Todd and Deborah. It was our Win Now podcast that we launched. We had a lot of fun, and we're going to launch out season 2 here early next year. So, you know, if you haven't listened to it or subscribed, we would love you to give it a listen. That would be awesome. But, you know, we had some fun guests from, you know, the industry and from outside of the industry. And I think that's going to be something we're going to continue to focus on as we head into the new year. So that was good. I know I enjoyed that. We had a
make sure you
open her
guys.
mouth.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Deborah. Do you want to say something?
I was going to say, I don't want to start calling people out, but not all of you have participated in the chat. So you guys had to have had at least one big win of this year that you want to share. So come on, John, Harriet, Justin, Allen, let's go. I see y'all's names on here. Y'all play with us.
Yeah, no, we'd love participation, as well as anyone watch this on Facebook. And please, those of you that are watching this on YouTube, share some of the most noteworthy things that you want to call out. The last one is we flip the switch, and I think this will also be a year, you know, we'll look back 10 years from now and like, this was the year that AI, you know, came out. And this will be the beginning of radical shifts in real estate's agents' compensation. You know, the lawsuit's a big deal, and there's going to be a opportunity that comes from this for some people, and there's going to be a loss of opportunity of this for some folks, and so this is the year it started. You know, when I was kind of journaling on, you know, key trends this year, I don't think there's ever been a year where every real estate agent was more recruitable than this year. Like the amount of realtors that were like, you know, I think I'm gonna try a new lender, or absolutely switched lenders. I don't have complete data to support this, but I do have a lot of anecdotal, you know, conversations that I'm confident that this was a record-breaking year in terms of realtors switching lending partners, and that does tee up my first key trend. And shout out to the whole community. Like, last year was record breaking. This year's going to be even more record breaking in terms of every realtor is recruitable, and they don't need loan officers that have great rates and can close loans on time, because the industry is full of them. You know, like, we lost a lot of folks, and the people that are left know how to close a transaction, and they're pretty good. They're anywhere from pretty good to great to world class. Like, there's not a lot of bad LOs at closing transactions. but loan officers that can help improve conversion, loan officers that can help get a fence sitting first-time home buyer off the fence and into escrow, loan officers that can help create clarity and confidence for a move-up buyer that's sitting on a home with a 2, 3, or 4% mortgage saying, should I move up? Like, those loan officers are going to completely crush 2024. Which one of you wants to either give color on that or share a trend that you have?
I think it goes well with what some of the people have said in the chat, where Kim said she almost doubled her production this year. She didn't hit her goal, but she's super happy given the market. And I had asked her, what did you do differently? And she said, to be fair, I'm only 2.5 years into getting out there and building relationships with realtors, financial planners, etc. But Pam Thorne also said that her production was half of last year, but she doubled the number of realtors who were referring her leads. So it kind of goes hand in hand with what you were saying, Dave, that as long as that's on your list, I have some who maybe had taken the foot off of the gas on and maybe just sitting and waiting a little bit too much and kind of thought that, keeping the same business model that they did when it was fast food season and it was just, in and out, not realizing how much that could impact or hurt their business, where they lost some referral sources. So this was kind of a wake up call, and they're, ready to go at it, and they're hungry to go after y'all's agents, guys, the ones that are bleeding a little bit. So that would be my one thing to you all, is how are you even protecting and bulletproofing those relationships that you currently have, and what's your strategy to get more of them? So big shout out to those who are having good years by continuously meeting with their agents and providing value. What about you, Todd?
Yeah.
It's funny. I wrote down the word resilience and redemption. I felt like those were two words, because I feel like the people who are still here that are watching this now are the ones who survived, right? We all thought May rates were going to come down afterwards and that it was going to be an amazing second half of the year. And, I think it took the wind out of a lot of people's sails. And so I do think that, listening to, what we're seeing here in the chat, right? Almost doubled my business, doubled my realtors, right? Dave talking about the trends there. I mean, it's just opportunity that we have coming into a year where, we know after Dan Rawich's conversation with us last Friday, that rates will be coming down, right? We've already seen some movement over the last, 3-4 weeks, as it is. And so, I think it's going to be interesting. I think that, I think the opportunity right now is what Deborah just said, right? Is to keep doing what you've been doing. If you've been keeping in touch with your agents, I would be, putting a fence around my agents first. I would be making a really great target list of agents second. And in my call on Tuesday with Dave, I mean, one of the things I mentioned is you all actually already know all the agents you need to reach your goal this year. They're listing agents that you have done a transaction with. They're agents who used to refer you business, who got snagged away by somebody else or distracted. And so you know these people already. Someone maybe you bumped into at a lunch and learn earlier this year at some kind of a conference. And so really I would create that next group. Who am I going after? And get really intentional with a plan to go after them, because I think that's the opportunity. And then the other one is your database, right? Those of you who've done a good job of doing annual mortgage reviews and staying in your database, all the things that we talk about in this community, you already know it. I mean, my team is getting calls from clients who are getting calls from other loan officers, their servicers, whoever it is, trying to refinance them already. And we know it's too soon in a lot of cases. In most cases, it's just the tip of the iceberg. And so, I think that's the other piece too, is it's been a weird year. We've lost a lot of our competition, but I actually feel like a lot of them first quarter are going to get back in as rates come down. So you also, again, you want to protect what you have, protect that database, protect those agents, like Deborah said, and keep up the good work.
Yeah. I think, last year was a record-breaking year of loan officers turning into data-driven mortgage coaches. Like we had a good year with MortgageCoach. Like the adoption of MortgageCoach was up. The number of lenders that said, "Hey, I really want to pour in to going from loan officer to MortgageCoach." And I think 2024, that's just going to accelerate. Like, it's why I'm actually going to, rebrand the MortgageCoach Tuesday interview to the MortgageCoach 10X Tuesday interview. So it's going to be, 10X interview every Tuesday, 9:00. And I do truly believe that the number of loan officers that transition into data-driven mortgage coaches it's going to explode. You know, one, I feel like what we're doing from a technology perspective is very exciting. You know, there's some really cool upgrades to the platform coming early Q2, and what we're doing with our buyer intelligence platform is next level. And then, you know, what you guys like, we're seeing people create community in other platforms. I mean, what you and Deborah do in the Win by Noon platform. If you were not watching and you are not subscribed to, you know, the Win by Noon community, you're not listening to their podcast, you're not following that, like it is a great platform of success, productivity, and positivity. And it's all part of this movement, you know, turning loan officers into advisors. So I think that's another trend that I think will accelerate this year.
Hey, I would love to hear from Deborah. What do you see, Deborah? Well, first off, Dave, I love hearing that there's that many more data-driven LOs, right? I mean, I feel like obviously what Trust Engine does and what you do has had a huge impact. And, you know, it was interesting to watch my team, you know, as the couple team members who weren't as committed to MortgageCoach as I thought they should be, became committed, and to see their price exceptions go down and their conversion go up was a fun thing to watch. So those of you who are part of the community or watching this video that haven't really dug in on MortgageCoach, I'm telling you, it'll make a big difference as we go into, you know, potential refi market. You know, it just makes your job easier. You put a video on it. They get to actually watch that before you have the conversation. So you're shortening up your conversion conversations because you've pre-sold them by recording a short video. They're sharing it with whoever else is a decision maker. And instead of, you know, giving the wrong information and telling them what you said in a wrong way that turns their spouse off from wanting them to get the loan, now the spouse sees it from you too. So I would just make sure if you're not part of that you jump in. And then the piece I want from you, Deborah, is let's talk, right? You're plug and play, right? Miss Plug and Play SM. What are the trends going to be in social media for 2024 that we as a community need to be aware of?
Well, a lot, kind of the theme for social media is going back to their roots and the basics around connection and community. It's less about influencers and followers, because it's, you know, I think people have learned and caught on that people can buy their followers, they can buy their likes, they can buy their views. And really, at the end of the day, followers don't mean revenue. So it's how are you creating content and leveraging all the different features that each platform, you know, has. For instance, there's now the notes on Facebook and Instagram. That's that little question above chat. If you guys have ever seen that and you're wondering, like, you know, what is that? It's also utilizing stories, broadcast channels, a big deal now. It's kind of like Facebook groups. But I also think it's going to be less over productionized, if that's a word or a term, video content. And it's less commercial, like more authentic. I can't remember the attorney's name. Is it Jeffrey Fisher? Who was the attorney at AmpCon?
Yeah.
You guys remember?
By the way, I interviewed him a couple of weeks ago. It's in the channel.
Oh,
Anybody,
okay.
you gotta follow this guy. I mean, like
Jefferson Fisher, right?
Oh, that's it.
Jefferson. Yeah.
Jefferson.
But
Okay, but it's
over
very
6 million
authentic.
followers.
But I want to just highlight that sometimes and I know it's fun and it's creative, and I have a lot of clients that even ask for these types of edits, and it can be somewhat distracting or feels promotional. So incorporating things like showing your MortgageCoach strategy on your stories, and it could be you in a ball cap, like with no makeup, you know, at the office, just real. It's real live time in the trenches doing the work, sharing stories in an authentic way. That's, you know, and I'm just using this as an example for women, but sometimes we almost look too perfect all the time with hair done, makeup done, and, you know, perfectly captioned, and, you know, these fancy edits that it's almost being too flowered up. And so that would be what I would say for this coming year is focus on community. And then just know there is nobody creating enough content. I get asked that. In fact, I just did we had like 600 loan officers on Dan Keller's coaching group call. And I get the question all the time, well, how often should we be posting? And it's like, I have two responses usually, either more than zero or as much as you can, because we all have enough content probably documented in our phone. We just don't post it. And that's why one of the questions I asked on my Instagram post was, if you had all the self-confidence in the world, you had zero fear of rejection or approval of those who could be watching, like, how would your social media look? What messages would you share? No fear, no concern. And also, not counting the hand claps and the likes and the comments, like truly just outperforming and wanting to share your truth, your financial truth on, to me, what's the biggest classroom in the world, which is social media. I mean, if you want to spread a mission, then you do it on social. So focus on building community, not just counting followers, and be okay with it, with some content not having to be perfectly polished. Like, just get it out there where done is better than perfect, where you're sharing the story, but always include those data driven aspects to validate your word, so it doesn't sound like or feel like commission breath.
Yeah, I love that. So yeah, just another year to double down in authenticity. And truly, anyone that is doing social media, check out the interview I did with Jefferson. He went from playing with social media at the beginning of 2023 to, having over 3 million followers on Instagram, in all social media channels, over 6 million followers, getting a book deal, having social media be transformative to his law practice, and really, now becoming an influencer that, could have an entirely new career as a speaker and influencer. So it's a very inspirational, but also very practical. He even in that interview shares exactly, how he prepares to create a 1-minute video and how he creates it. So check that out. Also,
Well, and I want to highlight on his story, if I can, real quick. He's an attorney and he didn't have an office. So some of the excuses we make of like not creating content is like, you think you have to have all this, the studio equipment. And, if you go and check him out, he's like, people ask me like, what kind of lights do you use? And he's like, the sunlight. And he's in his truck, like he's in his car. He's like, it's not what you would expect of an attorney who typically has their degrees behind them. And, but he did it.
He's got car seats behind him.
Well, I was going to say the key is he did it consistently. That's always the key with any of this, is consistency.
well, and it's valuable. Like, I mean, like
Right.
the advice he gives is on point. It's a minute, and he's made social media valuable and educational. I spoke about First Home IQ earlier, but guys, you are going to see a massive growth in mortgage professionals leading with purpose. Yeah, we want to be profitable, but leading with purpose. I just put a link to an interview that Kristen and I did this week. We interviewed JJ Mazzo, and this is going to be the first of a series. We call it the First Home IQ Presents, and this one was First Home IQ Presents the JJ Mazzo homeownership story, and it's just us talking to him around, like, when did you buy your first home? He bought it when he was 20, and he tells his story, and it's incredible. Deborah, I would love to have you involved in some of these interviews, because you were the first Home IQ ambassador, guys. Like, when we kicked off that program, we haven't quite hit 100, but we've got over 30 founder friends. We've got over 67 First Home IQ ambassadors, and there's gonna be over 1,000 by the end of next year. We'll have over 1,000. Well, that's our goal, by the way. Just throw out a goal for everyone. First Home IQ hopes to have over 1,000 ambassadors of mortgage and real estate professionals that are the first responders in the financial literacy crisis, that are telling their home ownership story, and then they're helping shape the home ownership story that a lot of 20-year-olds today will have. So check out that interview. I just put it down below. And Deborah, thank you for being the very first First Home IQ ambassador. Todd and I really appreciated that.
Yeah. I remember being at the Modern Mortgage Summit, and I was in that fancy recliner, and I'm like, you know what? Heard it pitched, and I was like, add to cart, let's go.
All right. Well, I got a few more important things that I think loan officers need to focus on. But Todd, what else do you have? Like, what's ahead in 24?
Well, I mean, I kind of gave my whole argument for time and owning your time on the Tuesday call, right? Where to focus, WTF. And, I really I'm a broken record when it comes to obviously the win by noon message, but my point of that isn't the whole idea that you need to do everything before noon. I actually would challenge. I think that most loan officers could actually do their most important calls in less than an hour a day in January. I think it'll pick up. I think as people start picking up momentum, then you might need 70 minutes and then 80 minutes. But as you have more people that you have to communicate with, and you have more conversations that are impactful, and you build conversation. I did. Took me 27 minutes. I recorded my time this morning. I made 2, 4, 6, 7 phone calls, not text messages, to real estate agents, and I talked to 5 of them. And I had to move pretty fast because my goal was actually to get 10 done in. I had a little bit bigger window than that, but it got with family in town, it got a little interrupted, but that was all right. But I think that we're so focused on distractions, we're allowing distractions in. So I think really, if you can get laser focused and just own just a little bit of your time every day, right? Jonathan Roach talks about the power of 75, and he talks about, you have these hours outside of your business day. I want you to really focus on the hours you're actually working in your business day. When Dave and I surveyed people on Tuesday, a lot of people said they're working 10, 12-hour days. And then I said, well, but how much are you really working? And some people are like, yeah, just a couple of minutes a day, right? So I think if you could actually just really, just try to channel this whole idea of, hey, I'm just going to win 1 hour a day, whatever time of the day you think that is. I just know if you do it earlier, you're more likely to do it. I actually think you'll move yourself further faster in January than if you did anything else. And you obviously have to plan, like, who am I going to call in that hour, right? Clients, is it going to be leads? What am I going to do? But I think if you're laser focused on it, you can really jumpstart your year pretty quick with just an hour a day.
Deborah, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I would say from a social media standpoint, I'm also super protective of people's time. And there's a part of me that worries that some get too distracted when they're on social, or they're not leveraging out, services like myself to get them out of what's maybe fun and creative. And but at the end of the day, you still got to be making your calls and meeting with agents. So from a social media standpoint, I call it blocking and tackling, that we should all be doing, no matter when you're on the field, and that's doing 20 DMs every single day. So carve out about 30 minutes of prospecting time, and really use social for prospecting, not just, entertainment. And this is how you flip that. So I like to do the first 5 are gratitude DMs. I think it's a good way to start the day, but who is creating content, or who do you see that you could just say thank you and appreciate? Because it's hard to create that consistency. And, hopefully most people, their motive is to share some social good or some truth that could benefit. Jonathan Roach comes to mind. He's pretty consistent with his inspirational messages. And it's like, just reach out, even if they're people you don't know yet. But then also include, like, who are the people that you want to be seen by? Who are your top referral sources? Who are those, clients that if you were to rank from an influence scale, like maybe they're head of HR, are you showing up in their notifications every single day? Like, are you being their biggest fan? Because I can promise you, most people, when they go to social, they go to the app that has the little red dot. And so if you can get your name to consistently show up in the notifications, that's brand awareness too, just by being their biggest champion. So focus on using social for prospecting and deepening relationships, and then also as an extension to your CRM. Because I think 2024, like we've kind of said, we've got to bulletproof our relationships with our current partners, as well as our database, because there are going to be, those loan servicers who you're competing with, large call centers, are going to be calling your clients, trying to get them to refi and start sending them messages. And so what are you doing to stay top of mind? And whether you like it or not, the human attention is on social media. So anyone that you would typically add to a CRM, add them to your social bank and make that part of your daily discipline of, I'm going to be the biggest fan and be seen by those I want to be seen by putting myself in their notifications. Okay, that's deepening that relationship. And then 2, are you adding 20 new follows a day? That means you proactively following 20 new accounts of the people that you want to be seen by, or maybe they're your past clients, or they're listing agents on offers that have gone out, that even if you don't win that offer, but it's using it as a social bank and not just for consumption and entertainment. Or worse, when people post, they refresh and they're like, but no one's liked my stuff. I don't have any new followers. And I'm like, well, how many new followers did you click? How many likes did you give out today? If you're not 10xing it, then don't expect it in return.
Yeah, you mentioned refis. I mean, I had that down as a trend that there's going to be a lot of opportunity in 24 for mortgage professionals. Dan Rawich, I wouldn't say he predicted. He just made a data-driven case that, hey, rates could get into the fives sooner than you think, and by into Q1 we may be in the fives, and whether that happens or not, I mean, we're already starting to see refis. I mean, Jeremy, I'll be interviewing him in early January. But I think he texted me that he took 18 apps a couple days ago. And by the way, if you are starting to, take some rate and term refi apps, put that in chat, let us know. But we're going to have refis and we're going to have purchase. And here's my quote, 2024 is going to be what you make it. There's never been more sales training content, like what to do and how to do it to be successful. You've got the MortgageCoach YouTube channel, which is free content. You've got, Win by Noon, which has a tremendous amount of free content. You've got a number of incredible coaching platforms. There's going to be more training platforms coming to the market this year. There's a number of, and they're going to be quality. They're going to be great. And they're going to be, so there's never going to be less excuses to win as a mortgage professional. There's never going to be more great coaches to help you win than we are going to have in 2024. And it's going to be a year of what do you make of it? And just a reminder, and I'm not advocating that everybody should be working between Christmas and New Year's. I do know a lot of ballers that are going to have a workation. They're going to do some great things with their family, but they're going to be doing some planning. They're going to be upgrading their vision. And again, this Tuesday, 9:00, the day after Christmas, I was going to take it off. I am going to take most of the day off, but I am going to interview Sean Herrero at 9:00. So sign up, check it out. You could go to SavageInsights.com and it'll be at the very top. There'll be a link to sign up for that. So guys, we're rolling into the last 12 minutes. Anything, Todd, any color you want to put on what's been said? Is there any new ideas that you want to throw out before we run out of time here?
I mean, I think I don't know that there's new ideas, right? I think it's just a matter of looking at the old ideas. It's a perfect time to do your review, right? I've taught business planning, I've taught life planning. I am going to do a kickoff call on the 10th because I'm going to do a workation on the first week of January too. My goal is not to work too much over the next 2 weeks, but I'll be reactive and I'll do select stuff. But I'm gonna jumpstart the year with a call on what I think are the ways to launch into the year. It'll be kind of a part 2 of the call I did with Dave on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday that week I'm doing life planning. Our good realtor friend Kevin Kaufman interviewed me for his Next Level Agent podcast, and as always, I throw things out when I'm talking live that I'm willing to do. He missed my life planning class, wished he was there, and so therefore I'm teaching it again. But I say you gotta look back, right? I mean, it's a perfect time to do a keep, start, stop, right? What do I want to keep doing that I did this year? What do I want to stop doing that was getting in my way this year? And what is it that I keep hearing other people talk about? Like, oh, maybe I'll do my 20 follows a day that Deborah talked about. Like, what do I want to start doing? Because ultimately, you're not really able to grow and really grow fast if you're really not intentional around what it is that you're going to do. And that'd probably be the place that I would start without going off into a whole lecture on that piece of what I think is going to be critically important for all of you.
What about you, Deborah, before we run out? Anything you want to add to what's been said or anything new you want to bring to the plate?
I just want to say those who have made it, again, kudos to you guys, put a big pat on your back, and hopefully you're proud of what you've accomplished and the person that you've become. And that's kind of when I was looking back and thinking about today's call, I thought, wow, there was a lot of adversity. I thought I had been through a lot of adversity just from childhood. And, this year really challenged me. And I there's times I would show up with a brave face and, I was on the struggle bus and I'm not good at asking for help, but I can look back and honestly say that I'm proud of just the character and the grit that was built through some of the hard times. So for those of you who may echo or may resonate with you, know that you're not alone. And I'm really excited for 2024, one, to shut the door on this year and like say F you to this year. Honestly, that's what I want to say to 2023. Sorry, Todd.
You
He's
can
like,
say
whoa.
it. You can say it.
Okay.
No, that's all
Okay.
good. I'm like, you know,
like I
Well,
am
I think
I'm
ready.
you, I
excited
think
for
you
you to put
said
it
it.
behind you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
said
Like
it.
yeah, I'm ready to close the door. And it just makes me even more fired up for next year. And I was thinking about, we did a big mastermind with Benchmark at Denise's crew, and she had all the loan officers kind of do this exercise of what's one thing that you're going to keep doing that worked well for you this year, and what's one thing that you want to learn or improve upon next year. And I thought it was very interesting that a lot of the things that I heard are the things that I hear every year from loan officers. So it was MortgageCoach, getting better with MortgageCoach, becoming that advisor, which, just a reminder to everybody, I believe it's it's Wednesday, Thursday that you guys do the MortgageCoach training. So if that's on your list, then they do have specialized trainings to get better at that. Social media was top on the list. They know they need to be on social, but they don't know what to post or how. And so obviously that gets us fired up because that's what we do. CRM was a big one, like actually reviewing what's going out, the automations, maybe having a CRM, maximizing the CRM that they're using instead of just complaining about it. So those were kind of like the top 3 items of what's on people's to-do list. So if you're a branch manager or maybe, higher up CEO, maybe that's some feedback for training that you could provide for your own staff. And if you need help, or if you want a Zoom call, I'm more than happy to get on a Zoom call with your LOs or your branch, and we could do a little social media segment. But I'll wrap it up with, I watched the Barry Sanders documentary. Have either one of y'all watched that?
On my list.
I just put it on the
Oh,
list to watch it, but I have not watched it yet.
well, what I want to say is you had Deion Sanders and Barry Sanders who got drafted the same year, and I won't ruin it for you. But 2 Sanders who had such a completely different approach of how they played the game, from one being super flashy with the glasses, and I love prime time. And then what I loved about Barry is Barry wasn't that way. He was all about performance and didn't need the titles and the trophies and the yards. And so know that this is the year to just be you. Like, you do it at a very high level. You don't have to do it like Jeremy. You don't have to do it like Nerd. You don't have to do it like Shayla. But whatever you do, do it at a high level and be you and be true to you. And then it won't feel like a chore. So that's what I wanted to end it with. It's just, you know what, guys, let's say goodbye, F you to 2023, and let's go on being you at a high level
Yeah.
for
At a
2024.
world-class level.
Unleashed.
We'll use
Yes.
the Jonathan Roach, just world-class, be world-class. So kind of last point before we run out of time, I wanted to ask everyone is, I would love to know, of the content in the video that I created, I'd love to know what created the most impact for you. So if you're watching this and you want to share like a favorite, or a few favorites, please let me know, because that helps us know what you see is most valuable. The more I know what you see is more valuable, the better I can do at creating content next year. Also, I would love to know who else should I interview? What other types of content do you want? And if you just want to say, hey, I want more of blank, it doesn't have to be like a new idea, but would love to know, for anyone watching this that follows this community, that uses the YouTube channel for growth, and what'd you like best last year, and what do you want to see in the year ahead? Like, I would consider it a personal favor, and if you do get value from this community, that would be a great way to show and say thank you for the value you get. So that is an ask. And by the way, you can text me, you can email me, for those of you that know my numbers. Also, we have a SavageInsights. If you go to SavageInsights.com, that's a great way to see what I think is most valuable. And the mobile club, the Savage Insights mobile club grew a lot this year. I'll put that number in chat. So if you want to get into that mobile club, the best, I think almost at least once a week, I texted everyone. I tried to not make it more than 2 times. There might have been a few weeks where you got 3 texts, And I try to make that a place that, you know, we're just shining a light on the highest that, or what we think are the highlights of the week we're sharing in that Savage Insight text club. So I'll put a link, I'll put the phone number down below in just a minute. So guys, we got 5 minutes and I do want to end on time. Todd, yeah, well, actually, let's go Deborah closing thoughts, and then let's have Todd do the win by noon, taking action, close. Deborah, any other closing thoughts?
No, that was going to be it. So you took the words out of my mouth on just feedback. Let us know I'd love to know what events you plan on attending next year.
That'd be
Which ones
good.
did you like this year? And then which ones do you plan on attending next year? And then also, who would be people that either you follow that you think would be great, people that we should interview that would bring value to the community. So, I love feedback. So if there's things that you wish even I would share more or less of, you guys let me know as well. But I want to know what events as well.
All right. And by the way, guys, I just put that number in. It's 949-799-0837. Just text that number and you will be added to the Savage Insights Mobile Club, so that we are at least once a week shining a light on what I think is most valuable for mortgage professionals that want to go from loan officer to data-driven mortgage coach. Todd, how do you want to close it out?
Well, I'm gonna throw my my mobile club in here. I'm not nearly as good as Dave. I hardly ever text out. But this is the Win by Noon mobile club. You might as well be part of that too. It's 602-737-3848 for those of you who are listening. I'm going to end with a little bit of gratitude, a little bit of coaching, and then some best wishes, right? Grateful as we started off this call for, you, Dave, for you, Deborah. We had a lot of epic times together on Zoom this year. We had a lot of epic times together in person this year. I think that's a lot of the highlights that I had was the time I got to spend with the two of you doing fun stuff. So thank you for that. And thanks to the rest of you. I mean, you have been huge supporters of me personally and at Win by Noon, and I couldn't do what I do without you. From an action plan perspective, I would encourage you, if you feel like you're stuck, watch the Tuesday interview that Dave did with me just a couple of days ago. I really I think I gave some tips on how to get from where you are now to where you're trying to go and to get you moving. And then I would also encourage you to look at that top 12 list of conversations that were had in the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel, right? Success leaves clues. We got a lot of smart people like you that watch these videos, and don't necessarily watch every one of them, but just look at the titles of them and see which ones. If you're struggling with realtors, they've already said it, there's a huge bunch of realtor ones in there. Jack up the speed slightly, depending on how fast your brain can absorb, 1.5 to 2 times the speed, and then take really great notes. And then really just sit down, like I said, and think of a list of things that you really want to be intentional on. Now, you can't pick 27 things you're going to do, but make a brain dump of ideas that you want to do, and then just pick 1, 2, 3 tops of the ideas you want to do, and then make a list of how you're going to plan that out, and then schedule time to do it. If you don't have a list of what you're going to do, if you don't know what the steps are to do it, and you don't schedule time to do it, it's just not going to get done. And then I would encourage you over the next couple of days, just be present, right? I hope you're spending time with friends or family or both, and just make sure when you're with them, don't do the Deborah Bird social media thing, right? Just take the picture. You can post it that you did it, because we do, actually I lied, do the Deborah Bird social media thing, post the picture. We want everyone to see the fun that you're having, and then put that phone away. Don't worry about likes and comments right then. Just be present with your family. Enjoy yourselves. If you're going to do a workation, I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's actually probably important right now to gain a little momentum as we go into the year, but make sure a big chunk of that is planning. Schedule yourself some planning time. I think that's going to be, really key. And then, whatever that day is, if it's January 2nd, just be ready to come out, play full out in 2024. And just know that the 3 of us in this community, we're going to play out alongside of you, and we're going to do everything we do to get you moving into the year. So have a Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas. Amazing New Year. I can't believe I won't be on with y'all on Zoom next week, but man, it's going to be, it was a year, whether it was Deborah's year or it was my year or your year, whatever it was, you had a year, and wish you all the best.
All right. Hey, let's give one last virtual knuckles to each other. Let's go.
Woo-woo.
All right. And this is to all of you as well. Super grateful for everyone that tuned in to this channel. We couldn't do what we do without you. We love what we do. Pick your word or 2 words of the year. I adopted Jeremy's 2 words when I interviewed him on his racing, or what was it, sprinting to the finish line interview a couple weeks ago, which again, epic interview, but obsessed with impact. You know, I love creating value for people, and this year we're just going to create even more value. Obsessed with impact. What are your words? Take care, everybody. This is a wrap.